Hey everyone, this is T-Lore, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have in front of me an unopened box of Pirates of the Revolution. So I had never seen one of these before. I'd always got them from the store, and they come with in this nondescript box with WizKids tape on it. Now I got this from Hills Wholesale Gaming, which is one of the few places left you can get unopened booster boxes. And I'm going to open it up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to go through some of the data that we've been collecting on rarities of different cards in the packs and how cards come in the pack as we open packs. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and get it open. So this is how it comes, and you can see that it's got a lot of empty space all in one box. So if I can pull this out. So when you pull it out, it is all basically pre-assembled. So there it is, a Pirates of the Revolution booster box. So it even comes with some ships already up there. I would say those ships would be functional. I don't know what they're made out of, but it looks like styrene. But there's some very fake cards in the back here. This John Paul Jones and the second card of Julius Caesar. Both of those are pretty fake. However, these four ships up here look like they'd be the real thing. And then there's a couple of dice. I'm not going to open that up or anything. But what we are going to do is start going through packs. So there's 36 of these packs in here. And I have a list of all the cards that I'm missing from this set, which is significant. I'll just briefly show you that I have all of them written down. And then I also have a list of statistics that I'll be going through as I open these. And I'll be writing down the packs that I get as I get them so that we can add them into the statistics that we've been collecting. So, this is the first pack I've opened in probably 8-10 years at least. Certainly since the game went out of print. Alright, so we get to start out with a fun one. This is probably the best one to pull, at least card combinations, for demonstrating how this game is played. So, if we look at this is the card right here that's going to determine what we get out of the pack. Now, HMS Greyhound, the card number, all of that is not really relevant at this point. What we're looking at is the rarity and how many cards it is. So, HMS Greyhound is a rare single card ship. So I'm going to call that an R1. Now, when you look at the checklist for the game, there are lots and lots of different ships at different rarities, and everything except super rares, we're going to go through how you pull those. Now, in a pack, you're going to get 6 cards. And from those 6 cards, you will get 2 ships and 1 treasure card, whether that's a unique treasure or a generic crew. So all of these that say treasure, captain, helmsman, cannoneer, these are generic crew that come with treasure coins. And then you also have these unique treasures that are rare. So those are independent of the ships that you get. So I am going to predict that based on this single card rare, I am going to get a rare crew. And sure enough, I can pull this pack back here. You can see that I got a rare crew. So what happens is when you get a rare single card ship, you will get a rare crew. And we've found that to be true 100% of the time so far. You also will always get a treasure card. This one happens to be a generic treasure card. And that one happens most of the time. It's somewhere between 1 in 9 packs and 1 in 12 packs will be unique treasure, and the rest of them will be a common crew. So we have a rare crew, a rare ship, and a generic crew. So we have 3 cards left in the pack. We'll get another common crew because a rare ship has 2 crew slots that come with it. Alright, so we got another common crew, and we got a common ship. I said we would get another common crew. That's actually not necessarily true. You won't always get another common crew. However, only combinations that we've seen with a rare single card ship is a common 2-card ship. So whatever ships you get in the pack determine what cards you're going to pull out of the pack. So you can see in this combination we have a rare single card ship and a common 2-card ship. In Pirates of the Revolution, there are only 2-card common ships. So if you're going to get a common, it's going to be 2 cards. If you're going to get a rare, it can be 1 card or 3 cards. So you can see if we got 1 card for the rare, we have 2 more slots that we can fill, and those will be filled with crew, and one of them will be rare. If we get a 3-card rare, you can see all 3 of these slots are going to be filled up with rares, and you're not going to have any slots left for crew. So that means you're only going to get a common ship and a generic or a treasure card, whether that's unique treasure or a generic crew. So in this case, we got one of the more interesting combinations that we discovered, where you always get a rare crew with a rare single card ship. Alright, so this one would be notated as an R1, C2, because it's 2 cards for a common ship. And then we have a card over here that's a G for generic, and then all the crew that follow after that, so RC. I'm not going to do that notation every time, but for this one I wanted to go through that just to show some of the cool information that we figured out. So what are the odds of me pulling that? It should be about 1 in 6 packs is going to be a rare single mast ship like that. So we're on to pack number 2, and I have La Bayonet, which is a common ship, and you're going to get a common ship in just about every single pack. The only packs you won't get a common ship in are the super rares, and if you happen to get a 3-card uncommon and a 1-card uncommon. That happens about 10% of the time so far. So that means that 90% of the time you're going to get a common ship. Now, we also happened to pick up a 5-masted rare ship. Now, this is one of the ones that I'm actually after, and these are selling for about 20 as of this recording. So I bought this entire booster box for 60. So one of my goals is to be able to not only maybe make the money back that I spent on this, but certainly fill out some of the ships and crew that I'm missing. So 70 is one of the ones that I was missing. So that's fantastic to be able to pull this one up. And Enterprise is a great ship. There's not a lot of ships that have 2s for cannons, and this one has a built-in ability to get an extra action, and it's priced pretty high, so you can get a lot of extra crew on there. And so this one is a fantastic pull that I am very excited about. La Bayonet is not on my list of cards that I need to get, so it's not as exciting, but that's okay. You're going to get a common in every pack, and we also got a Shipwright, which is 135, and I already have that. So 2 packs in, we've gotten both a single card rare and a 3-card rare. So if we look back at this, there's not a lot of rares in this set. However, for whatever reason, the rares that you can get are going to pop up about 1/6 of the time. It's going to be a single card rare, like our HMS Greyhound, and also about 1/6 of the time you're going to get a 3-card rare, like Enterprise. So that means that every 3 packs or so, we're going to be getting something pretty exciting. But that's just statistics. We may actually end up seeing quite a few commons. So we'll see pretty often that we're going to get a double common pack, and those are pretty depressing. All right, so we have our common ship, Panda. We have an uncommon ship, and this is a 3-card uncommon, which means that we're not going to get any additional crew with this. HMS Oxford, also a pretty good ship. It also has all 2s for cannons, and it's good against forts, which is not something you see very often necessarily, and great speed. So this is a pretty good ship for 12 points. That I would say that one's definitely beating the average. And then finally, we have 121, which is just a generic crew. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit more talking as I pull through this package rather than just start pulling cards. So on this one, it's a common ship, which we're going to see, so that doesn't really tell us anything. We have our checklist. We have our generic crew, which also doesn't really tell us anything. And then we have another rare ship. And this one happens to be HMS Swallow. And we got all 3 cards for that. And because we got a 3-card rare, 2-card common, we are not going to see any other crew on this one. So we're on pack number 4, and I've already pulled 3 rares, 4 commons, and 1 uncommon. Alright, so we have our generic crew, and you can see that this one is actually came punched out slightly from the factory. So I'm going to try and punch that one back in just a little bit. And that is actually one of the ones that I'm missing. We have a crew card. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that we have a maximum of 2 ships that are 2 cards each. So we didn't get a 3-card rare in this pack. And this one is a common, so that doesn't really tell us anything additional. Now, in this case, we happen to pull a fort. Forts are basically just ships, just in a different form. This one also came a little bit punched out, but as I punch this back in, one of the things that we'll find is that forts are no more or less common than any other ship that's at a common state. So this one is punched out the wrong direction, so it's going to be a little harder to punch it back in. So when the die cuts these cards, it's actually at a tiny bit of a slant. And so if you try and push it in with that slant, it goes really well. If you try and push against that slant, it doesn't. So this is a fantastic fort that only gets flags eliminated when you roll the first time it's shot, you roll a d6. So you could roll 6, and it has to take 6 hits before it even starts losing anything. We also got an uncommon single card, which means that between our 2-card common and 1-card uncommon, we have 1 more slot left, and that can be an uncommon crew or a common crew. Because we have an uncommon in the pack, we can also get an uncommon crew. And hey, guess what? It's a fire pot. So fire pots are, for whatever reason, extremely common. The problem is that there are 4, I think there's 4, maybe there's 5 fire pots that share the uncommon crew slot. And so whenever you pull the uncommon crew slot, you're going to get the same one almost every single time. Excuse me. All right, so we have 122, 20, 65, 9, and 39. So in this one, we pulled 5 different cards because we got a single card and a double card. So we get quite a bit out of that. So we're on to our 6th pack. And we've pulled 2 big rares. Alright, so this one is a 2-card common. We have a 3-card uncommon. And a generic crew. So this one's a pretty common pack. Shows up about 1/6 of the time as well. Yankee is not a great ship. It's actually a little bit below average. So if you figure 3 points per mast, and this one is at 12 points, and its cannons are worse, and its speed is average, it says this ship cannot be pinned, which is, you know, don't ram things and you won't be pinned anyway. So, from the financial aspect of it, since that may be of interest to some of you as well, these packs are pretty common still. There's not a lot, I would say there's not a ton left out in the world, but they're definitely one of the more common packs that's still out there. If you get into something like South China Seas or Frozen North, those are not very available. Okay, now this one is interesting. It looks like this card has actually been pretty significantly miscut, so the ship is way off center. You can't see it super well on the back, so it may have even been misprinted. But you can see that the 3 is almost cut off on this one. So we have an uncommon, which means that we have an uncommon crew, possibly. Actually, no, we don't, because it's uncommon 3, so we are out of crew slots, because we're going to get a common ship with it. Alright, there's a new ship for me. I did not have Hades Flame, and that's a pretty exciting one. And then Golden Medusa is, it's pretty average. It's got good cannons, its point value increases respectively, and it's got good speed. So, I get to cross off another one on my list. Hades Flame is very expensive, but it's also fast and has good cargo, so I leave that in your discretion which one you want. The Ghost Ship is nothing exciting to write home about. Alright. So with these packs, right now you can expect about $20 for a 3-card rare. Some of them go a little bit higher than that, like the Constitution, because everybody wants the Constitution. You can expect a 1-card rare ship to go for about $4, but remember, you also get a rare crew, so that whole pack will probably go for $7. I'm not counting the commons because they're very common, and nobody's going to generally buy just a common from you. Alright, so HMS Algiers is a common ship. We have our generic crew card. So we really don't know what's left, but we can be getting a rare, we could be getting an uncommon, or yet another common. HMS Algiers is pretty good because it does have a built-in extra action ability. It goes average speed, it has a link, and it has really good cannons. But it's a little bit overpriced, 6 points per mast rather than 3 points. Alright, and in this case, we get HMS Swallow again. So this is another 3-card rare. So that's another $20 ship. So let's review briefly that I have pulled now 3-card rares, and I paid $60 for this bundle. So if I sell each of these 3-card rares for $20, I've made back what I spent on it. Now, how did I know that? Well, the math says that 1 in 6 packs should be a 3-card rare. And if each of those sell for $20, then I should be able to get $120 out of this. Now, I am still looking for quite a few of those rare ships, so I'm not going to sell every single one of them. Just thought it was interesting that that's part of what went into my decision to buy these booster boxes. And you'll notice I have not pulled a single unique treasure yet, and I'm on pack 8. Pack 9 now. So that tells you that they're pretty rare compared to something like a 3-mast rare ship. Alright, so then we have a 3-card uncommon. La Santa Isabel is a fantastic ship. You'll notice we're almost at 2 points per mast. I'm sorry, 2 points per cargo. You're still average on your masts, but you get extra cargo. It's fast and it has a treasure ability. So this is a fantastic treasure runner. And then we have also a 1 card uncommon, and that allows us to have our uncommon slot, which is a fire pot. So we got quite a bit out of this pack. This is one of those packs where you don't get a common. This is an entirely uncommon pack, and it happens about 10% of the time from what we've seen. So uncommons like this are selling for about $1, $1.50 if somebody's chasing them, except for fire pots. Everybody has fire pots, as far as I can tell. So those don't really get a whole lot in return. So really what we're after in these are going to be the rare ships. And I can tell already that I have an uncommon schooner, so I'm not going to see anything rare in this pack. All right, so we have Saratoga, a little bit overpriced. Its cannons they end up being pretty average. You have 2 2s, but you also have a 4, and it's a little bit faster. So this one is, I'd say it's right on average, if not slightly overpriced. Generic crew. And we just pulled that one in the last pack. Isn't that funny? And of course, because we have an uncommon ship, we have a fire pot. Now, 2 packs in a row, we've gotten 2 uncommon ships. Now, you'll never see 2 single mast or single card uncommon ships. Keep wanting to call them single mast, but it's actually how many cards it is and the rarity that makes the difference. Alright, so another uncommon, which means we're not going to see any rares. This is HMS Oxford again. Now, this is our first misprint pack. Believe it or not, misprint packs happen, from what we've seen, about 2% of the time. This one happens to be in our favor, and how do you know it's a misprint pack? Well, one of the rules that we've set up is that if you look on the back of a pack, let's see if we can get it so you can see it. All right, pack contains complete game rules, a die, a crew or treasure card, an island terrain card, and 2 complete ships. Okay, so if you have 2 complete ships and a single treasure card, that's a normal pack. However, this pack happened to be a mispack because we ended up with 2 treasure cards. You'll notice they're the exact same number, so we ended up with a little bit of a bonus. Or did we? Because, yes, we did. We ended up with too many cards. So, another way to tell a mispack is that you end up with too many cards. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in this one. So this one's considered a mispack. And sometimes they're in your favor, and sometimes they're not. So this one, with 7 cards, was in our favor. There are a few mispacks that give you extra cards like this one, and then there are a few mispacks that actually give you fewer cards, or they'll even scramble up the cards in it. So like in this one, we have all 3 pieces of HMS Oxford, but sometimes you'll get pieces from a couple of different ships. And based on the rules that are on the back of the package, that's a mispack. And if you get more than 6 cards, that's also a mispack. So this one's a mispack in our favor. Like I said, those happen about 2% of the time, which is pretty often. So you can kind of expect that to come up in a box. I don't think we've gotten a box yet that didn't have at least 1 mispack in it. Alright, so there's another uncommon ship right on top, which means we're not going to get any rares on this one. So we have Yankee again. And then we have our generic card, and look at that, we have a fire pot and a single card uncommon. There's another one that's miscut. I don't think those are that big of a deal. They try to overprint the area so that you don't end up seeing anything outside of it. But it's interesting to note that when that does come up. So there's another one of our 10% double uncommon packs. Now, with this data, those numbers may shift a little bit, but I'm surprised we have not seen any double common packs yet. I also have not pulled very many of the cards that I'm missing, which is very interesting. But that's part of the fun. All right. So, Rattlesnake. Now this one, you'll notice, is 5 points for 5 cargo, and it averages about 2.5 points per mast. So because it has a negative ability, this ends up being a decent treasure runner. Now, it's a little bit slow with L, but with that much cargo, you can put Helmsman on there and still potentially clear out an island. Then you have an uncommon. So Neptune's Horde is, I would say, a great ship for treasure. It's fast, it's got an extra cargo, and it's a little bit above average of the 12. It's 12 points and has all of that. So that's a pretty great ship to be able to run treasure with. And then we have our generic card here. All right, so we're starting to get close to maybe halfway through. I think I've got 4 packs left until we're halfway through or so. Now, the super rares would be fantastic to pull, but I don't expect to see those. Those are about 1 in 3, and they take up the entire pack. Okay, Le Bon Marin is a pretty good ship. 6 points for 1 mast. However, it has 4 cargo spaces and S+L speed. So this is a great one with a built-in explorer to boot. So this is a great treasure runner for the French. Now, because we got a 1 mast rare, that means we're going to get a rare crew. And look at that, we did. So we got Woodes Rogers. And that's a rare crew. And that one is on my chase list, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then we got our generic treasure card. We still haven't pulled any unique treasures. And our common ship. And because we pulled a single mast, we should also get another common crew card. So something you'll notice is that not every pack has named crew. So there's somewhere around a 50 to 60% chance, reviewing the stats really quickly here. Yeah, so there's a 60% chance that you're actually going to get named crew. So that means 40% of your packs will not even have any named crew in them. So that does make them a little bit less common to try and actually pull. All right, so just like that, we got another rare, and this one happens to be exactly, oh, not exactly. It's another French one. This is also a pretty good one because it's 5 points, it's fast, and it has 3 cargo space. So I would say this is a great treasure ship. It also has decent cannons for defense, and it has the ability to double the range, which is not super exciting for 1 cannon, but it could be something interesting. S+S is just slightly longer than long range. We also got Woodes Rogers again. And we got our generic. So we should also get another common crew. We got our common ship. And you'll notice that this is the same common ship that we got last time. So that's interesting that we got Woodes Rogers and Curseblade in literally the last pack. As well as Kikoa. So we got 4, let's see, 3 of the same exact card and 1 that's only 1 bigger, and 131 versus 113. So I'm going to go back and look at this previous pack here. Yeah, so 113 versus 131. So I wouldn't say this is a duplicate pack, but we got 2 of the same crew and 1 of the same ships in literally the next pack in the stack. So that's just a fun anomaly. It's going to happen on occasion. I don't think we have any statistics for how often that happens. But we got a common ship, and we got a, well, let me start with the ship here. We got a common ship, and we also got a common crew. So that means that we only have 2 cards left. So we're not going to get a 3-card rare. We're not going to get a 3-card uncommon. we can still potentially get a 1-card uncommon, but more than likely we're going to get a second common ship. So this will be our first common pack. And then, lo and behold, we actually got a 1-card uncommon. And that means we got a fire pot with it. So, just like that. It's not necessarily every time that you get a 1-card uncommon that you're going to get a fire pot, but it seems to be quite often that you get that. Now, these 1-card uncommons were introduced in Pirates of the Revolution, so you won't get that in something like Pirates of the Spanish Main or Pirates of the Crimson Coast. They only have 3-card and 2-card uncommons. But Pirates of the Revolution has no 2-card uncommons. They also have fire pots. Anyway, all of those statistics vary pretty readily. So this one, we've got our generic crew right on top. And we have a common crew right below that. So we may have another common pack. And I still have not pulled any unique treasures. Okay, so this one I'm a little bit excited about. Robinson is a fantastic point bait crew, and the one that I have is really beat up. So I may be using that one for videos. Commons don't sell for more than 50 cents or $1. So there's another Paradis de la Mer, which is that fort we talked about earlier. And then we also have Philadelphia, which means we got a fire pot. So again, we're seeing a lot of 1-card uncommons, and those almost always come with a fire pot. Again, another close cut on this one. Alright, so we're about halfway through the box. We have not seen any super rares yet. We haven't seen most of my list that I'm looking for. Alright, so here is a uncommon, or a common. Now this one moves really fast, has below average cannons, and has friendly ships within S get +1 to their cannon rolls for 16 points, which means we're at 8 points per mast. So this ship is definitely overpriced. However, you do get the ability to give other ships within range +1 to their cannon rolls. We pulled yet another 3-card rare. Alright, so this one is Les Superbes, which is one that I already have. That's okay. Les Superbes is actually a really good ship. So it's got 2s and 3s all long range, and other ships do not block the ship's line of fire. So you could put something in between it to act as a barrier. I've done that a time or two with schooners that are really thin and can slide in there and can't be shot at by ships within S or something like that. And so you're able to protect this one with another one. And then we also have our generic crew. Nothing too unusual there. So that was another great pack to be able to get another 3-card rare like that. Just to give you an idea of how many cards that is, so this is not even all of them that I have stacked up, but that is how many cards we've pulled so far. So what are some of the best ships to get in this? Well, actually, here's a great one. It's not one of the best. La Monarca is a great Spanish ship for treasure. This one is really fast and at 9 points. It's pretty good for just running around, but I wouldn't say it's like a best. Now here's another fantastic fort. Now since we've gotten 2 commons, can you guess what we're going to get? We're going to get a common crew and something in our treasure slot. Sure enough, there's our common crew. Alright, so we got 2 common ships. Even though that's a fort, it still counts as a ship for what you pull. And a common crew. Let's see if we get our first unique treasure. Nope, generic crew. So this would be what I would call a common pack. These are the ones that you're supposed to see the most often. And statistically, you'll see them pretty often. About 20% of the time. Alright, so Lynx, I know immediately is a 1-card rare, just from knowing the set. And it is not on my list, unfortunately. This one's pretty fast, but it's not a great treasure runner because you don't get to take advantage of the ability if you put either a helmsman or an explorer on there. And on the return trip, you have to run a little bit slower. So that's okay. But that also means we get a rare crew. So this is a Marine, I believe. Yes. So this Marine, pretty generic. I believe Marines were introduced in this set. Yeah. So the problem with most Marines is that they aren't just Marine. They spend an extra point to get +1 against pirate ships, forts, and crew, or Spanish, or they pick a specific faction. So most of the time you end up wasting that extra point. There's our generic crew, which is actually on my chase list. The problem is there's so many different generic crew, it's hard to make sure you get all of them. All right, and then we have common crew, which is on my chase list. That's fantastic, 2 on the same pack. And then Carolina, which hopefully you saw my previous video about how this is missing schooner and we can get it back. But it's not errated or anything. It's supposed to be missing schooner, and so you have to work around it to get it back if you want schooner, but I don't think it's that important. So. All right, now this one is interesting. There are no cards on top. I am going to guess that this has the potential of being a super rare pack because there should be a card on top of that. It's not. Oh well, I got my hopes up. What fun is it if you don't get your hopes up partway through? All right, so we have our generic crew, 3-card uncommon, and a 1-card common. And that one, I thought that one was on my chase list. I don't recognize it, but that's okay. This one's decent for 5 cargo, 2 masts. It's a little bit overpriced for 2 masts, so I take it back. But being able to not be shot at by long-range cannons means that you'd only be able to be shot at by 1 cannon from this ship. And if you're wondering why I'm pausing, I'm trying to fill out all the information as we go. And this will affect all of the statistics that we have been collecting to be able to improve them. All right, so there's another 1-card rare, and 86 is on my chase list. Chesapeake. Oh, nice. Once per turn when this ship hits an enemy ship, also eliminate 1 crew from that ship. So for a little guy with a pretty solid gun, you can do quite a bit of damage. 7 points, a bit much for 1 mast, but it does have 2 cargo, good speed, good cannon, and a good ability. So, I mean, if you're going to do that, that's pretty good. Another rare crew. We had just talked about Marine. There's our generic. Our common crew. And there's Carolina again. So we just pulled that one in the last, that was 2 packs ago. And we also pulled a Cesar Alano 2 packs ago. So that's interesting how that came up again, where we're getting some duplication. Now by this time I've amassed quite a pile of packs. Alright, I can tell immediately this is not a super rare pack. It's not the only thing I'm chasing. I'm chasing quite a few, but and then I just punched that accident. Anyway, so there's our generic, which means, all right, we got a common crew, which means we could have a double common. We could also have a 1-card rare again. We could also have, well, there's our common. So that means that we have definitely got either a 1-card uncommon or a 2-card common. And just like that, we got another common. So I think it's fun to try and guess the pack as we go a little bit based on the information that we see. Keeps it a little bit interesting. But we did just recently pull Peacock, and Thompson's Island is, well, it's okay. But you have to keep ships there in order for it to get extra damage, and that just doesn't seem that great. Alright, so we got another single card rare. You can see how often these rare cards come up, even though they're rare, which means we're going to get another rare crew, we're going to get a common ship, a common crew, and a generic crew, or a unique treasure. Alright, so they peak. We've already had that one. Jonathan Harridan, which is move and shoot, and a re-roller built in. So that's pretty good. That's honestly a pretty solid crew ability, because re-rollers are 3 points, captains are 3 points, and you get it for 6 points. 117 was on my chase list. Sir Watkins Defoe. Ignores terrain when given a move action. And interesting, another card that's been miscut in the same direction, towards this direction. So it's still readable, still usable, but definitely miscut. You can even see that you almost get some blue on the crew chip itself. Cursed Blade is 3 mass for 11 points, so a little bit over the average, but it also has 5 cargo, which is fantastic. So we've got, I think I missed one here. 58, 91, 117, 36, and 5. Alright, so we're getting pretty low on packs. Alright, so we got our generic crew, which means no super rares. Because when you get a super rare, they are all super rare, the entire pack. So you'll know it immediately. And usually they have a little paper that tells you you got one as well. So there's Golden Medusa again. And we got another uncommon. Which I'm looking back here. I think this is a mispack. I am double checking all of my checklists, and I did not get another card with this one. So this is a mispack in the other direction. You may be saying, well, why is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, maybe it's not a mispack. I miscounted. That's more accurate. Me miscounting is more accurate. So 3 cards here, 4, 5, 6. No, it's not a mispack. Alright, so pretty generic stuff here. 2 uncommons again, so that's been coming up pretty often in this box to get the double uncommon. Alright, I can see a fort, which means that we're either going to get an uncommon or a common. I guess we could get a single card rare with that as well. But there's that Paradis de la Mer. There's a common crew. There's our generic. We still have not pulled a single unique treasure in this entire box, which is very unusual. And then we have another common. So this was a very common pack. Everything was common or generic. Alright. La Vengeance. It's right on average for points, but it's faster, shoots a little bit better, and has a little bit extra cargo. So this is a pretty good ship. But it's a 3-card uncommon, so we're not going to get a lot out of this pack. We also got our generic, which was one of the ones on my chase list. I'm starting to knock out some of those generics that way. And of course, another single card uncommon, and a fire pot. So we've been seeing a lot of the single card uncommons with the fire pot coming up. Now, we could have pulled just a common in this slot as opposed to a single card ship and a fire pot, but that's not what happened. All right, we're getting down to about, looks like 8 or 9 packs left. It's quite a few packs for one single box. All right. Oh, we got the super rares. All right. So, I wondered when I pulled this open and didn't see a crew on top. And it says, congratulations, you just got a super rare game pack. And it's ships from the next expansion that are in this one. So this alone goes for $40 or $50, and it's fantastic. So I'm going to take a moment and go through these. So galleys sometimes don't have great cannons, but notice for 3 masts, this has a decent point cost and 4 cargo. So this one's not exactly like amazing. I'm going to set these aside for sure. They don't need to go on the general pile. The one that's fantastic is Star of Siam. So you're paying a little bit extra per mast, but you get 4 cargo, you get SSS speed. So this is definitely on the top 10 of best treasure runners because of how fast it is and how much cargo you get out of it. Now, notice we pulled all the super rares in one. That's how they're supposed to come. Wesley, this was one of the first crew that lets you board from S away. So as part of a move action, you may board against a ship up to S away from her and doesn't get to use any boarding bonuses. So that's also a great crew. Now, it's a treasure card. It's technically a generic, but it's a super rare. So Chain Shot Specialist is a super rare generic crew. But yeah, this alone makes the pack worth it. I am super excited to have been able to get this. So, all right. I'm glad to mark that one down. All right, so I'm going to just kind of stick that there. Ooh, that's tough to not be shaking after a little bit because those are pretty, like every 2 to 3 booster boxes, and to be able to get it in this one booster box. I have another one that I probably won't open now that I got the super rares, but anyway. So we've got a common with a common crew, which means we can either get an uncommon single card ship or another common ship. So we got our common crew, Robinson again, which you'll notice he's been key in several of my crew craziness videos. All right, and then Hornet, which is on my chase list. All right, that's great. So it's another common. Most of my chase list is common. But there's definitely a few rares in there. All right. Speaking of rares, there's like 2 or 3 5-mast rare ships left that I'd like to be able to pull. But we're definitely getting into more of the commons. I think we pulled a lot of the rares already early on. So we've got a common in our... Oh, now that's an interesting... I'd almost call it a mispack, but it's not exactly a mispack. It's the right crew chip. Just notice that it's cut a little bit differently. It probably got punched through from the previous stack of cards. All the treasures seem to line up just fine. It's just the crew that has the trouble there. So that's not exactly a mispack, but it is interesting to note that sometimes does happen. La Bayonet. And speaking of 5-masted rares, the Soleil Royale. Alright, so there's 3 cards for that, 2 cards for the common, and 1 for the generic. Alright, so I'm going to take this one, put it in the stack. Only got about 6 packs left, so I'm going to go ahead and grab them all. Yep, 6 packs. I'd love to be able to pull one of the 3-card rares that I'm missing, because that would be huge. But I don't exactly envision being able to get that many more. Alright, so we have a generic crew. and a common crew, which means we could either get a double common or common uncommon. We've run into that plenty of times by now. All right, so there's a fort. There's a so that's a common. L-range cannons cannot hit this fort, which is handy because it also has L-range cannons to shoot back with. All right, and then we have our double uncommon with a fire pot and single card uncommon. And I will note again that this one seems to be at least slightly miscut. So I wonder if it was an entire sheet that got miscut and stuck in these packs. However, I believe the randomization is done after rather than before. All right, so there's an uncommon, which means that we're going to get a single card uncommon in this pack. And there it is. So, all right, which means that we have a we could have a 3-card uncommon, but more than likely we're going to have another common ship. All right, and there's a common crew, which means we have a common ship. Now I pulled that one off camera to punch it back in because the corner had punched out. And then we have the Devil's Maw, which is another interesting fort because you get eliminated crew back at the fort and they gain ghost ship. Now that doesn't work with sacrifice captains, but it does allow you to get crew back. It's a cheap way midway through the game to keep getting your crew back. Alright, so this one's packed. Interesting. Alright, so there's an uncommon, which means a fire pot, and a common, and our first unique treasure of the entire booster box. So that's really unusual, I think, to be that rare at getting a unique treasure, and it's one I already have, and I'm missing like 2 unique treasures, maybe 3. But alas, today it will not be a unique treasure. And then we did just pull this 100 from the previous pack with Christian Jefferson Esquire. Ramsgate's another fort. And then we have Firepot and single card uncommon again. So we've seen quite a few uncommons, even though they're supposed to be uncommon. I think we've almost seen more uncommons than we have commons in this booster box. That's anecdotal. The data will tell us later. Alright. Now that's interesting. This pack is opened. So it got cut somehow as it was getting fed into the packing machine. So we have a common crew and a generic crew. So there's that, which means a common ship, or a fort in this case, and yet another common ship. So we'll lay this all out here real quick. So this is what I would call a super common pack. So you've got super rares and now you have super commons. Because everything in this pack is common or generic. Like I said, those should come up about 20% of the time, and I think that's only the second super common we've got. Alright. So we got another common. And look at that, we got a 3-card rare. Is this one of the ones I need? No. However, it is Constitution. And it is definitely one of the ones that's in demand. Now, here's why. All long-range cannons, pretty, I would say, average cannons. Below average cargo, below average speed. The ability is where it wins. 2 hits from the same shoot action are required to eliminate one of the ship's masts. So that means that if you shoot this ship 3 times, you eliminate 1 mast. 4 times is 2 masts, etc. And if you have one of those ships that eliminates 2 masts with each hit, you eliminate 0, 2, 2, 4. So it takes 2 hits to eliminate 2 masts, but 3 hits still only eliminates 2 masts. And then we have our generic crew. So from a value standpoint, Constitution is probably the best rare to pull because of the extra demand for it. However, this is the last pack of Pirates of the Revolution in this booster box. So it's been fun pulling all these packs out again. I have another booster box. I haven't decided if I'll open it. It may be a while based on the fact that I did get the rares, the super rares. However, I am still missing quite a few from my list. So you can see there's quite a bit on there that I have not been able to get yet. So I'll go back through and make sure I didn't miss any, but alright, so Monarcha, this is the one I was talking about earlier that's actually a really good treasure ship. So for 8 points, which is not great for 2 masts, you get 4 cargo, so that ends up being 2 points per cargo instead of masts. You get really good speed, SSS, and once per turn this ship may move S after loading treasure. So you hit an island, load some treasure, and it gets to move another S. So that's fantastic for being able to run treasure. And for only 8 points, their generic crew, which so happens to be Spanish, which is great. And it's a captain. And then we also have Louisiana, which is an uncommon American ship. So, it's been a lot of fun opening all these packs. I'm going to bring back this giant stack of cards here just to kind of give you an idea of how many cards you pull out of a single booster box. Alright, and then see if I can do this without making it fall over. Alright, so this whole thing is what came out of a single booster box. Alright, so there's quite a few duplicates in here, and I'll have to go through and figure out how many there are. But definitely I got some great value out of it because of some of the ships that I was missing. I picked up at least one, maybe 2 rares that I didn't have. Some crew, that sort of thing. Definitely some cards that I was chasing. I would have to say probably the biggest win is this guy right here. I am super excited to be able to pull super rares. It's been a long time since I pulled super rares out of packs, and I didn't have these before for certain. So, I mean, copyright 2005, these have been sitting in a package for 15 years. So, very exciting, had a lot of fun. May do one of these again, we'll see. I'm going to do essentially what I've heard of as the booster box game, where you buy a booster box and you sell the singles that you get out of it, and maybe turn that into another one. And since I already have one, it'd be fun if I'm able to make that back to open up the next one that I have. So if you made it this far in the video, fantastic. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Hopefully you had fun with all the statistics that we went through. And I have this whole sheet of data that I'm going to be entering into the spreadsheet to help further refine our statistics. All right. Thank you very much.